A very good afternoon to all present here. I welcome you all for the 5-day FTP on AR/VR technologies, session 3, day 4. And this session is going to be handled by Dr. Kausikan sir. I would like to invite Ms. Nandini ma'am, Assistant Professor, Department of IT, SNSCT, to deliver the welcome address. Nandini ma'am, please.
I take immense pleasure in welcoming our chief guest today. So, Dr. M. Kausigan completed his BTech degree in Information Technology from Anna University in 2008 and MTech Information Technology in Anna University in the year 2011. He completed his PhD in Anna University in the year 2019. He is currently working as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering in SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Kattangulattur, Chennai. He has published papers in many reputed journals and conferences. His main research area interest includes digital electronics, processing unit, cloud computing, machine learning, and Internet of Things. I welcome you on behalf of IT department. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, madam, for your introduction. So, first of all, I thank the organizing committee for giving me a chance to deliver a lecture in virtual reality. So, I thank the management of SNSCT and Dean of Computer Science at IT and HOD of IT and all other faculty members of SNSCT. Am I audible? I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay. So I will share my presentation first. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Oh, thank you, sir. Okay. So the topic, what I'm going to interact with you people is today 3D models and interaction design. So I hope for past 2 or 3 days you are discussing about virtual reality and augmented reality. So I don't want to discuss more about the introduction regarding to virtual reality and augmented reality. So I want to go to the topics which is related to not virtual reality. So related to means these topics are used to build a virtual reality environment. For example, you can by knowing these topics you can easily develop the games which is highly equipped with the 3D devices. So the objectives of 3D model is, these are the major objectives of 3D model. So 3D objects and environments, then 3D development environments for a project, basic functions of Unity 3D. So Unity is a development environment that is used to create various objects which will be used in a virtual reality environment. Uh, Ultimately, it will help you to develop a virtual environment, virtual reality environment, that Unity IDE. Okay, we will discuss those things in the coming slides. The next is use 3D mesh-based objects, then use of 3D coordinates to navigate a 3D screen. So the first one is 3D objects and environments. So when we are discussing about 3D objects and environment, 3D graphics comes into the picture. Actually, so currently, the only way to create fully immersive, interactive virtual reality experiences that you can step into and interact with is to use 3D computer graphics. Actually, the computer graphics is the process of taking representation of objects and words that are entirely on the computer and using them to create potentially high realistic and compelling images. Though these images can also be very abstract and cartoony, if you like, the basic principle of computer graphics is that we represent objects and environments as computer files, primarily as a bunch of numbers. I will talk later about exactly what that means. But for now, think of it as a computer's way of understanding an object that is in 3D. Okay, so that has height, width, uh, depth, and volume. So the process of computer graphics called rendering is to turn these 3D representation into 2D images that can be viewed on a computer screen, or in our case, a head mounted display. So head mounted display is nothing but I think in the past sessions or in previous lectures, they may be some professors may be discussing about the hardware unit of the virtual reality. So that head mounting display is a hardware that is used to experience the virtual reality environment. So I will be showing the pictures of the head mounted display in the coming slides. So luckily for us, this process of rendering is handled by modern computer graphics hardware and very sophisticated graphics software also. So the VR creators, they don't have to think very much at all about how the objects are turned into images. So I'm speaking about VR creators means if the outcome of this session is fully satisfied means definitely the audience will be the VR creators. So I'm speaking about them. So VR creators don't have to think very much at all about how the objects are turned into images. Our jobs as creators is to create those representation of 3D objects. So the first and foremost essential thing to work in a virtual reality environment is to know what is a 3D object and how to create a 3D object. So the next thing is 3D engines. So in this slide, we are going to be looking at developer environment. So in particularly, what they are, why we should use them, and for things to consider in choosing our own developer environment. So I'm raising a question: what is a developer environment? So actually, the developer environment means IDE. So IDE means integrated development environment. So that is the acronym given across the globe for IDE. So what is meant by an IDE? So it is a set of developer tools that will be used to create applications in our case. This is virtual reality application. So IDE can be used in vast areas, a number of applications. But here IDE means, so we will be discussing the IDE related to virtual reality applications. That is what I want to mention here. So we are mainly going to be focused on an environment called Unity. They are actually good alternatives out there that you might want to look at. So we are going to discuss about an Unity integrated development environment, and some of the things you might want to consider when picking an environment. That these are some of the questions that should be asked within you. So before picking an environment that related to integrated development applications, so what you are trying to create, what is your current set of skills, and what platform do you want to deploy it to? So either it can be a web, such as the web, the PC, or even your mobile phones. Okay, so the Apple iPhones, they will be supporting the VR environments. So even Unity, the softwares like Unity and IO Frame, so IFrame, those type of environments will be supported in mobile phones also. So we will discuss what is A-frame and all. So the next thing is A-frame. So in this slide, we are going to be looking at A-frame, which is for developing VR experience in the web. We are going to take a look at what it is and why I might want to use it. So I might want to use it means actually previously I used this A-frame environment for doing some simple VR applications or to know about the VR application in an introduction level. So that's why I mentioning that why I might want to use it. And some of those relative strengths and weakness of the platforms are also we will be discussing now. So essentially, A-frame is a framework for developing web VR experiences. So it makes a lot of the kind of nitty-gritty stuff of developing developing web VR experiences. Okay. So it makes a lot of the kind of yes. So I have got up here on my screen. So I will be showing you that A-frame. So this is the link that is used for the aframe.io. It will be carry you through that website. I have to, for example, A-frame. I think my screen is visible.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
So this is the particular website that will be providing you the experiences that you might be looking for VR. Okay. So you can see here. So this is some of the things you can revolve this around like this. So even you can see the code of the particular thing. So just click on this option called vSource. It will be providing you the code. When you are seeing the code, it seems to be very simple. So click just view source. I think it is taking some time because I'm connected with the Meet and as well as the VR environment Meet. It will be taking time. Yes. So you can see here is a simple HTML code has been used for this particular creation of this 3D object. So this is what I have to show. And there are some other. So this visual inspector, it will be allowing you to see the. So you can select it directly. So you can a single object can be selected like this. For example, if this arrow, if you are clicking on this arrow mark, means it will be going up and down. So so either it will be moved in all the direction, three-dimensional. So for a single object, so for box. Yes. So for if you want to do something related to this box means just click on this. So I'm showing this as a simple example. So you can see the right hand side, the position has been mentioned along with the rotation, and with the cylinder means it will be. So these lines are used to perform the transition of the object. So either it can be moved up, and if you want to, I will be showing some more examples and tracking and all. So this is one of the example. So wait, I will be showing responsive UI. So you might be seeing the applications like this. So what they are telling is by using this A-frame, you can create the application like. So you can. The real-time example is when you are going to a mall. So there may be some automated screens. So when you're touching that screen, it will be giving you a full picture of that particular information. So those these are the examples of VR environment. So if you want to see a create a 3D 360-degree image, so that is also possible. So you can see here. So even 360-degree means you can go down to the earth and as well as up to the sky. Then even the videos can be used as 360 and animated UI. So user interface with an animated form. So you can see here. This is also can be viewed in a 360-degree area. Then Moon Rider. So we can see here. So these are the best example of games. So just I'm giving the begin option. It will be, so I'm just clicking on this. So before 4 or 5 years, a game is very famous. That is what is that? A person is running on a road or a bridge. He will be so he have to travel through the road or a bridge without jumping into a tunnel or anything else. So those things have been mentioned. Those things have been created like this VR applications. You can enlarge the screen as well as wait. Actually, I chosen a wrong game. It seems that's why it's not. Wait a minute. Moon Rider. Okay, so like this, you can explore what are all the things present in this A-frame. Yes, as you can see like this. So it is a 3D VR application. Yes. So these type of games can be created using these environment. So now you can see, you can touch the images. You can touch the components. Components means object. I am mentioning it as an object, and you can revolve around the thing in the 360 degrees. Okay. So this is what mentioned in the A-frame. So these type of things will be created by using the A-frame environment. So that I have shown you in the visual demo itself. So they have provided you the tutorial. So the link for this tutorial will be is mentioned here. So so it is very basic. So it's just a scene with a couple of objects in it, and you can kind of look around it. And what is impressed about this A-frame is that we had a VR headset. If we have a VR headset that is Oculus Rift or an HTC Vive hooked up, without installing any additional software, it will be able to give you a excellent experience. Okay, so I shown you an image in the A-frame website. No, so in that, if you are using that VR hardware, means definitely it will be providing you an excellent experience. So that is what it is present in our entertainment areas, what it is present in the malls. So the next thing is OpenVR. So actually this OpenVR is a software development kit. So it is written in, generally it will be written in C++, and it gives you low level access to some of the VR headsets that are currently out right now, including the HTC Vive and Oculus Rift. So this HTC Vive and Oculus Rift is the hardware. So it basically gives you some of the most important things you would need from the headsets. So like the positions and for the controllers of the positions and the data from all the hardware. So why do you, if anyone is asking the question means, why do you choose OpenVR as your development platform? So my answer would be, it will be a primary source anyway. So so it gives the it definitely it will gives you the direct access to the hardware, and it is the interface that is provided by the wall. So the reason I am using it is because it basically gives me all the control I would need over the hardware. So if when I am developing a software, sometimes coming up and I need some information about the headset or the controllers, definitely I will be guaranteeing that I'm going to get that information by using the lower level interface like that. So this much of flexibleness the Open VR will be providing. So some of the best part that will be used while in the development of the Open VR is it will be easy to integrate. Okay, it will be very easy to integrate into any software. So for example, if I am writing a lot of custom code and it was easy to integrate it in because it is also a lower level. So I could just take the parts I needed and use those specifically for a task at hand. So it will be easy to integrate into any software. This OpenVR will be easy to integrate into any software. Then it will be providing you the ability of reusing the function. So in most of the programming, so actually in C++, it will be that reusing the code will be gives you more flexible in completing the code in time, as well as it will provide you the free from errors. So when you use a different development platform, so it will be a problematic for the VR creation of the VR environment, because the OpenVR platform, that this software development kit will be providing more flexible comparing to other what is that other some other platforms that will be used to create the virtual reality applications. So, while speaking of the advantages, we have to speak the disadvantages too. So, biggest challenge in the OpenVR is that when you are starting to use one of these libraries, it is generally what you think is you write in your own interface. So it because so it is because there is too many details exposed. So initially using it, I had to write some additional abstraction layers on top of it to make it easier for myself to use it. So the customization is also done in the OpenVR. I will be using the many of the C++ code for developing the VR environment. So at the time, so the customization code, customizing the code requires a lot of time, because when you are speaking about the virtual reality environment, many dynamic entities are required. So by time to time, the transition of the object should be taken place. If the transition of the objects is not taking place, means definitely this VR environment or the VR environment what is created by you or me it will not be looks like a VR environment. It will be looks like a static environment. Simply a graphics mode of operations will be mentioned there. Okay? But if, so no 3D visions will be there if no customization of code is representing in the particular VR environment. So the next is Unreal Engine. So normally in those Unreal Engine is a game development environment. So it is a complete game development environment. In many ways, it is very similar to Unity. I mean, it essentially does most of the same things what Unity does. And really, the message of this particular slide is that they are fairly interchangeable. But I am going to talk a little bit about the differences between the Unreal as well as the Unity. Okay, so Unreal is a complete development environment. It has a sort of nice user interface for creating the scenes. So as you can see on this particular slide, so it has full support for VR in most of the engines that Unity does. So we are not discussed about Unity till now, but so we are going to discuss about Unity in the coming session. So I will be showing this Unreal Engine platform. So wait. So you can see here, even the website is a 3D based website. So this is also one of the platform that is used to create the VR applications. So it has a sort of nice user interface for creating scenes. As you can see on this page, it has full support for VR in most of the engines as Utility does. Okay. So we will discuss Utility further. So you can see here. So it is very much something you could use very easily for VR. So the difference with Unity is that Unity started off really very much animated, and for the VR developers, the small scale independent developers, whereas Unreal, so Willy was aiming at high end studios. Okay, so actually for creating the films or the many animated graphics films, so these Unreal engines has been used. So they have mentioned here, you can see here. So there is not vast amount in it, but if you want to get the last sort of few bits of sort of realism and graphical utility, you might want to go for Unreal rather than Unity. So, but uncertainly, if you are working in mobile VR, so it is really not going to be worth the difference between the two. Both will be the same. So if you are going into the mobile VR, so I would not no, that is not something that you would need in mobile VR. So if you are going to run a VR application, or if you want to if you are going to create a VR application, definitely you have to use the high-end computers. So, but if you are really looking at a high-end desktop, or then some of the great graphics which you can see from the example images. So here, so you can see here might be what you are looking for. The flip side of that is maybe hasn't had quite so much effort put it in the development environment. So it is maybe not quite as approachable as Unity, though it does have the advantage of a built-in graphical scripting environment. So you don't have to write scripts in code. So here in Unreal, there is no, it is not necessary to write the scripts in code, though there are lots of good graphical scripting environment in Unity as well as. So, and possibly the best downside is that the community is not quite so large, so there aren't quite so many resources available to help you learn Unreal. But really, all of the difference between the Unreal and Unity are relatively small, so I am not giving very strong advice one way or the other. So, but in this FTP, I have gone with Unity, which is a great environment and very approachable. So we are not going to discuss about Unreal or A-Frame. So I want to just throw a light on Unreal and A-Frame. So that's why I shown you these types of software development platforms. Actually, I want to discuss more things related to the Unity. So because Unity is even Unreal Engine is providing most of the VR application, but Unity, comparing to Unity, Unity is user friendly and it will provide more flexible than Unreal Engine. Yeah. So in this slide, we are going to discuss about the game engines. So the game, in particular, the game engine that we are going to be using during this FTP is virtual reality game engine, that is Unity. For those of you who are not familiar with what Unity 3D it is, so actually, anyone heard about Unity? Anyone heard about Unity? So, so actually, so I will be describing what is a Unity. So Unity is a multi-platform game engine created in 2004 and launched in 2005 by Unity Technologies. So it is a multi-platform game engine created in 2004 and launched in 2005 by Unity Technologies. So one of their main focus was to create a platform for developers and designers of all different levels to create amazing game content and interactive experiences. So Unity 3D also has a lot of support for virtual reality development and augmented reality development. So now there is so many other different game engines on the market right now for use, okay, such as Unreal or A-Frame, so like that. So why should we use Unity? So that the purpose of using the Unity 3D, okay. So well, there is a lot of reasons, but I am just going to give you the main three reasons for now. So number one, Unity has a great user-friendly interface. So it is versatile, intuitive, visual editor, allows for fluid development and modification of your game. So you can tell that a lot of focus went into trying to simplify the game development pipeline. So that is one reason. The second reason is number two, the Unity has a vibrant online community. So whether you want to share your progress, look for collaborators, or just to ask a question on the forum, it is a great place to interact with other users and developers. So Unity also has a great database of tutorials and documentations for you to look up different functionality that you can use to develop your game. So this is the second reason. And the third reason is number three is Unity 3D has a multi-platform build support, um, meaning that you can deploy to a variety of different platforms. So you could deploy to the mobile phones, web, or even to your console. So Unity also plays nice with a lot external assets. So to add more functionality to Unity and add a unique twist to your game, you can download different plugins and toolkits to use during your development. So actually Unity is a fantastic versatile development tool, very popular with indie games and also with the AAA game developers. So if you haven't started downloading Unity, so you can use you can go to this particular this particular link and you can download the Unity and you can start using it. The tutorial is also mentioned in a separate link. So how to use Unity, how the software has been deployed for the virtual reality application. So how the objects can be created, how the transmission of the objects can be done. Those things has been mentioned in the Unity software itself. Okay, the help command will be there. It will be allow you to follow the easy of flexibleness in the creation of the VR application. So yes, you can download Unity from their websites. So this is the thing I have. This link I have mentioned here that can be used for downloading. So Unity is free and normally set up to for relative modern PC or Mac. So if you want, once you have installed it, so after installing, definitely you have to go through the tutorial for developing your VR applications that is mentioned in this link. So I will be sharing this PPT link after the session to the event coordinators, so the interested audience can go through this PPT also. Or if you want to take a snapshot during this session, that is also easy for you to forward the work in progress. So I will show you the actually I have already downloaded Unity in my laptop, so I'm showing the Unity screen. So actually it will be if you are downloading the Unity, the space required for downloading the for storing the Unity in your local computer is nearly 12 GB. So it will take nearly 2 to 3 hours for installing this particular software. So I will be showing the containment of this. So you can see here. So this is also, so yes, right. So this icon, so hand tool that is used to revolve the spaces around here. Okay, spaces around here. And if you want to create an object, you can click this icon, plus icon, and 3D objects for cubes, spheres, capsules, cylinders. These type of objects can be created, and effects also can be effects, lights, audio. So what are all the things you want to incorporate in your VR applications that will be mentioned here, that can be used from these options. And these these six objects are used for transitions. Okay, sorry, these six icons are used for transitions. I will be showing you in the further slides. Okay. So the components of 3D graphics. So that is what a very important thing before going into working into the Unity. So just I have opened the Unity and shown you. So before creating the object, so how you have to know about what is mean by a 3D space. So now what are the components of the 3D graphics? Okay. So before creating an object, so there should be a environment called 3D space. So we will see what is a 3D space is. So before creating the objects that makes up your virtual world, so we have to think about the space in which these objects exist. So these things will be coming under the components of 3D space. So and this comes down to really understanding how we represent things like objects and positions in a computer. So everything on a computer really has to be represented as numbers. Okay, so what are all the things represented in a computer? It is represented as a number. Even something like an image or a video, that is broken down into a vast quantity of little numbers, several for each pixels. So here you can see here I have mentioned a grid. Okay, so and the next grid I have mentioned about x and y axis. I will be telling what is what that x and y coordinates describing in that grid. Okay, so understand how we do that. I would like to start not with 3D yet, but with 2D images that make up on the screen of a computer. So if you think about a computer screen, it is made up of a whole bunch of pixels. Okay, so massive grids of pixels, rows and rows and rows of pixels, but they essentially make up a grid like the one I am showing you now. So how do we represent the position of a pixel as a number? So first we start at the top left and call that pixel as 0, and we call it as 0, 0. So both the x and y coordinates as 0, 0, because as we will see in a minute, we need two numbers. So if we count how many pixels across a particular pixel is, in this case it is 12 pixels, and we also need to know how many pixels down it is. It is 8 pixels. These two numbers tell us exactly where a computer is on a where a pixel is on a computer screen. So just like the latitude and longitude on a map tells us where we are in the world. Okay? So we call the number of pixels across x and the number of pixels down as y. So it is just an ancient mathematical existing mathematical technique. So with the numbers x and y, we can represent the positions of any pixel on the screen. Okay, and that allows you to draw things at particular positions on the screen. For example, if you want a pixel at the top right, we need a high number for x and a low number for y. At the bottom level, so at the bottom left, on the other hand, you can see here. So it will be represented like this. Okay, so on the other hand, we want a low x and a high y means, so it will be for the bottom right, both should be high. So we don't really need to think more in the terms of pixels. We can just think of x and y as distances. There can be meters or inches. All we need is two numbers, and that gives us the position of any point in the 2D space. So that is really powerful. With the 2 points, we can draw a line between them. Okay, so and with these 3 lines, we can make a triangle also. Okay, this x, y, and z, we can make a triangle also. So actually, the grid will be same like this. So if you want to draw a box like this, so it is mentioned as x equal to 15 and y equal to 2. If you want to draw a box in the this structure, so it should be y should be in you should have a longer y coordinate and a minimum number of x coordinate. So if you want equal number of, if you want a square, so both x and y should be mentioned like this, and z should be mentioned like this. Okay, so even the triangle is made like this. We can start to make these shapes. So this is the basic building block of objects in 2D space. In 3D, we can still think of it in exactly the same way. The only difference is, as well as being able to go up and down across, we can also go in and out. So we need a third number, and so if you want to go down, definitely you need a third number. No, that is what mentioned here, and we call this number unsurprisingly as z. Okay. 3 numbers x, y, and z are what represent any position in 3D space. If you are representing only x and y coordinate, that is 2D space. If you want to representing the downwards, that is called, unsurprisingly, that is what I mentioned as z. So, and you will be see over and over again that we are using x, y, and z for our basic coordinates. Okay, so they are giving us some add points, and once we have that, we can start using x, y, and z's to create full 3D objects. So this is what 3D space is about. So the next thing is objects and meshes. So how to create an object, how the objects are represented, that is mentioned here. So actually the virtual worlds that we want to create are essentially made of objects. So they are made out of things. So each of these objects to be represented on a computer. So in order to be rendered in 3D graphics. So we have seen how spaces and positions and points can be represented as numbers in the previous slides. So any point in 3D space can be represented as an X. So and Y. So which is across means it is represented as Y, which is coming up and down is represented as Z. So like that, it will be like this only the objects will be created. So we can make use of this fact to build up the objects. So objects in 3D graphics are built out of points, a whole bunch of points. Are represented as X, Y, and Z. So these objects, these points are joined together to make lines called edges. Okay, so these points will be has been used to lines called edges. These lines are joined together to make 2D shapes called polygons. And lot of these polygons are joined together to make a 3D surface called meshes. So let me show you an example. So actually this is a 3D object. So you can see here this 3D object. You can see in the little pink dots. Okay. These are the points that define the shape, and we call these points as vertices, and they are the corners of the objects. So, and you can see on the side, one of these vertices have 3 rows coming out of it, and these 3 rows represents the X, Y, and Z position of the vertex. If you pull the if you pull the green arrow, okay, so you will change the X position. So for example, so here I haven't mentioned the actually I took the screenshot from the Unity for the understanding purpose. Here I cannot, that's why that's why I'm thinking. So here I cannot perform the animation in this particular slide. Okay, when I'm showing in the Unity, I will be describing it clearly. Okay, so I told you now, so if you want to move up, so this particular arrow can be used for performing the transmission of the objects to move up and down. So this is for the right and left, and this is for the Z is for moving the objects in and out. Okay, so that is what they mentioned here. So the lines in the black join. So here, so the lines in the black join the vertices together, and they form the edges of the polygons. And these things form the edges of the polygons. A polygon is just a flat shape made out of straight lines, just like I'm showing you now. So this object is made out of 4-sided polygon called quadrilaterals. So each of these polygons has 4 corners, 4 vertices, so which are joined together to make 4 lines, the edges to the polygons. Okay, so these polygons are essentially square. So you can see here. So everything is essentially squares that is meshed around a little wee bit to change the shape. So these flat shapes, the squares are put together to create a 3D shape. Each quadrilateral is one side of this 3D shape. So which one has a cube? I have meshed it. So you can see here this cube has been meshed into. So actually, what I want to convey is, so this dolphin. Okay, so it is not really a tough task to create a dolphin object. So a number of polygons has been meshed. Some portions of the polygons, for example, the polygons may be in a representation of a square, rectangle, according to the structure of this dolphin. Okay, so you have to adjust the vertices. That's all. Okay, you have to adjust the vertices according to the structure of the dolphin. Okay. So you can see here the squares are put together to create a 3D shape. So we call all the vertices and polygons the geometry of the object, because it is a geometric shape, and we will come to other things as well as the shape in next few lectures. So the full shape is built up out of the polygons. this can be seem too simple when the real world objects are not made out of flat shapes. They have curved or judged or rough and uneven. But actually building objects out of polygons can work really well because they are simple and they can be handled over on a computer. So your graphics card can render millions or even billions of polygons every second. So because you can have lots of polygons, so you can use them to make up really complex and rich and smooth curved surfaces. Okay. So so this is the right I will be showing to how to create, and this slide describes about how to create objects in Unity. Okay, so you can see here. So for example, so now object means so here you can see here I'm creating. So in the right hand side, so you can just zoom it down and so these are the things that is used to move the objects, or you can see it in a 3D view. So for example, if I'm clicking here means clicking the X means it will be showing like this again. So if you want to revolve around the left hand side or on the right hand side means it will be moving like in this direction. If you want to go to upward direction, it will be showing you the top view, and if you want to see the downward direction means it will be showing the down view. Okay, so this thing will be showing you the center screen. So now again if I am clicking on this means, so wait, so now if I want to move this object to the downwards means just click on this. Yes. Okay, just click on this and you can move, and this is for this direction and this is for just moving in and as well as out. So if you want to what is that see the environment over means just click on the hand tool and you can move it down. And if you are using the hand tool means the right hand side the inspector screen will not be visible. Okay, so see the inspector screen, so you can see, so it gives you the properties of the transformations. So in the right hand side the X is in which position and Y is in which position and Z is in what position, so everything is mentioned here. And this mesh is the name of the object what you have using now, that is cube. Then these are the some rest of the things that if you want to lightning or cast shadow, so some various options are given here. Okay, so this is there are another three things are there, that is main camera means so the if you want, so you can see here it represents a single, what is that a particular view of that a object means that will be can be viewed in a main camera. So you can see here so this will be viewed in the main camera. Okay, because we have the cube what you have created, that is according to our transform, it will be moved like this. Okay, it is moved like this. Okay. So the next thing is creating the 3D assets. So assets means I want to create one environment now. So actually for creating the assets, just there will be an option called window and asset store. So asset means you will be creating an environment for your game development or your virtual environment application. So just click on that asset store. So it will be going into the online asset store. So there are some available free asset stores also. Okay, free available application. So you can see here this. Wait. So these are some of the asset stores that has been used. Actually, we will be seeing that home stuff that is a free asset store. It will be home stuff. Yes. Actually, I have already got this asset stuff. So this type of environment. So that's why it is showing like that. So just click that as an open in Unity. So I already installed Unity, and you can see here. So that environment has been linked to the Unity. So it will be showing you the packages. So it will be showing you the objects. So this asset store has been taken by us for creating our VR application. Okay.
Kausikan sir, your screen is not visible, sir.
Oh. Sir, இப்போ தெரியுதா?
No, sir.
So wait, I will be stop sharing the screen and sir, is it visible now?
Right.
Sir, is it visible now?
No, sir.
It's not visible, sir.
Actually, I started sharing, then why it is at least whether my PPT is shown here.
No, sir, no.
The PPT is also not visible, sir.
Whether it is not visible from the beginning or in between,
No,
sir.
No,
you have
sir,
been saying about the Unity, no, sir. From there onwards, it's not visible.
Oh, okay, sir. Actually, that is I think if is it visible now, sir? So what screen you are seeing now?
Sir, I'm getting a blank screen with your name on it.
So
sir.
you are getting the black screen. Actually, I am sharing the Unity screen only, but I don't know why it is not showing.
Sir, you can share the
So I
entire
want to show that particular environment, how to drag the objects and how to perform the animation on that object. That's why I entered into the Unity, but I don't know whether it why it is not showing. Whether it is displaying now, sir?
No, sir.
Okay. Sir, whether it is visible now?
Sir, it's not visible still, sir.
Blank screen with your name was only coming, sir.
Oh. Okay, sir. I think it is not. The Unity is not sharing. It seems there is a problem in sharing the Unity screen. Whether the PPT is visible now, sir?
No,
Whether
sir.
you can see, huh?
No, sir, no, sir.
Even the PPT is not visible.
No, sir, nothing.
I think I have shared properly only.
So you can cancel the sharing and you can reshare it again, sir.
Oh. Sir, I think Unity, it is not sharing, it seems.
Sir, no issue.
Whether my PPT is visible now?
No, sir, your PPT is not visible, sir.
Okay, sir. Wait, sir. I will be joining again.
Yeah, sure, sir. Sure.
Yes, I think I okay. Wait, sir. I will be sharing now.
Okay, sir.
Yes, I have started sharing. Whether my PPT is shared now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, whether the utility screen is visible, sir?
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Okay, I think it may be some network issue or something.
No problem.
Okay. So you can see here, this main camera can be used. So this particular section. So what we have selected and this particular dimension. So this x-axis. Sorry, this y-axis for upside rows and this up to this column. So it will be mentioned in the main camera section. So you can, if you are click it as game, so it will be representing like this. So if you are representing as a scene, so if you want to move it around, so yes, it is possible. Okay, now you can see the camera view. So it will be showing this portion only. So if you are going again, so sorry, again drag this thing. Sorry. If you want to just click on the main camera, so it is showing like this. If you want this object to be this, you just dragging this object somewhere else, and if I'm clicking the main camera means, so it is showing the some 360-degree view of this particular icons. Okay, so this is what, and I want to show you the asset store. So just I don't know whether again it will be struck, it will be showing this. Whether my screen is visible?
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Can you able to see the asset store website?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. So I don't want to go it again. So I'm using the same thing. So actually it is presented in the, so if I'm, so actually this, what is that? Wait. That home store, sorry, home stuff will be, is free. Comparing to other VR environment. So this is free. That provides you some basic 3D objects that is used to perform the utility applications. So these are the it will be providing you the packages. So just click on the simple home stuff. So you can see this. So in the assets, it will be having the scenes. So wait, I will be minimizing this. Just so it will be providing you the various options like Visual Studio Code Editor, so which will be providing you the coding platforms that will be used to create an object or to perform the transition of the objects. So actually various what is that objects can be already mentioned here. So you can see here, these are the various objects, that is mentioned here. So you're clicking on the packages. So wait, I will be closing this thing. So the same thing will be mentioned here. It's a sample scene. So if you are double clicking on that, it will be providing you the sample objects that it has been mentioned before. So just click on this, import new asset. So if you want to import any new asset, means you can import new asset using this option also. So I already have, actually in this laptop I don't have that asset. I already have performed some home stuff applications. That is what. So if you having any other assets, means you can simply click and drag here, so and you can perform the operations. So some models will be there. So if you want to create a sphere, so the sphere has been created here. Okay, so I will be mentioning the, so if you, the transition means, so I told you no, so it will be going there. So this operation, so if you want to move revolve around the sphere like this in this format, so it will be moved. So actually wait, I will be taking some other objects, so it will be easy for you. I'm taking the cylinder. So if you want to move around the cylinder, is this possible? So this side also like this, and if you want to, sorry, to change the shape of the cylinder, so this is also to move in and out, so that is also possible. So these things, the position and rotations are mentioned here. And if you want to move this thing in this format, it is also to change, it is also mentioned here. And click on this. So yes, it is can be performed like this. Okay, so these are some basic utility functions. So actually creating a VR environment is not that much of easy. So we cannot create a VR environment within an hour or within 2 or 3 hours. So it may take some time. So you have that much of interest. So you should have the creativity of creating the objects first. Okay. Then how the object should be moved, those type of things have to be planned first. You should have a blueprint of those objects and how the object should be moved. Those things have to be planned. Then only we can create the VR environment in an easy mode. Okay. So this is the link that has been used to create a assets that can be used to fetch asset store and to create a 3D objects as well as the mesh. Okay. So you can see here. So we can see how we can make shapes out of vertices and polygons. So these polygon meshes are the objects that populate our virtual worlds and that we can use in virtual reality. But simply having an object is not enough to create a scene. So we want to create world which have many objects, but importantly, these objects need to be positioned nicely. So it is no good having all the furniture in a big pile. So when actually what we want is a nice laid room with the sofas in the right places, the coffee tables in the right places, and the lighting in the right place. So we need to be able to position our objects where we want to them in a, where we want to place them in our environment. So and we would like to be able to move around them across the environment. So the positions in our environment are already mentioned as X, Y, and Z. And so these will be the fundamental how we have moved things around. So you can see here. So everything is based on the coordinates X, and Y, Z coordinates. So that is what mentioned in this diagram. So the most basic thing what I want to do an object is to move it left or right, up or down, or in either it will be moved in and out. So those are the three directions that we have learned already about X, Y, and Z. So that is called as the translations. So it is what we think about first when we think about positioning or moving an object. So moving it left or right, in or out, up and down, or in and out. But it is not good having our TV in the right place in our room. It is facing the wall. So as well as having our objects in the right place, they need to be facing in the right directions. So we need to be able to turn objects, what we call rotating objects, and here again X and Y are quite X, Y, Z are quite useful. So we can rotate an object about X. Think about a big line or a pole going through the middle of an object, and you can see here middle of the object in the X direction. And if you twist that pole, imagine that to the whole object. That's what I mean by rotating about X. We can also do the same about by Y. Okay. And also for Z. So we can break down the rotations into a rotation about X, a rotation about Y, and a rotation about Z. Okay, and a rotation about Z. Actually, behind the scene, it is represented in a slightly complicated way called. It won't be go into the details. It's quite mathematical, but there are several reasons why it is a good representation almost all of the time. So it is good enough to think about an X rotation, Y rotation, and a Z rotation. So the interfaces of most 3D engines will allow you to change rotations with the X, Y, and Z. Okay. So the rotation and translations are called transforms because they allow us to transform. So change the position of an object. So when I want to talk about them together, I will talk about transformations. And most 3D engines will include transformation attached to each object, which includes a translation or a rotation. So the basic way is you can position an object as translation, moving it around, and rotation. So and that's actually what you would do if you are putting furniture in your living room. But actually, the 3D graphics is not the real world. We are not limited to doing what we can do in the real world. Then there is another very important transformation called scaling. So what that means is having objects bigger or smaller. So you can see here, this object can be bigger. This object is big and this is small. So that is what scaling is. You can perform scaling also. Now that is very, very useful because after creating an object, we move it into the space and we realize it is a little bit too big or it is a little bit too small. In the real world, if it is sofa and it is too big for your living room, that is a big problem. So in 3D graphics, no problem at all. You just shrink it down. So you can see here, what they are telling us, you just shrink it down. Shrink it down means it is not, if you want the sofa to be large in your VR application, you can scale it up to the maximum size. And if you want to shrink it, it is possible. Okay. So again, we can scale along the x-axis, y-axis, and the z-axis. We can scale along each of this separately. So we can change its shape by making it taller, wider, deeper, and thinner. Okay. So that can be quite useful in a lot of situations, but a lot of time, if we want to keep objects the same shape, so we just scale from the same amount along the x, y, and z. So we have three transformations: translations, which is moving, so rotation, and which is turning and scaling, which is making it bigger or smaller. So they are all attached to our objects. So and you can use them to move and position those objects to get them where you want inside your virtual worlds. So the next is positioning, scaling, and transforming primitives in the Unity. So this is what I have mentioned in the Unity. So in the transforming itself, so these are the basic icons that can be used to perform the transformation. Okay, that I have mentioned already. So the next thing is camera in VR. So it is simply based on the hardware point of view. So far we have talked about 3D objects in 3D space, but ultimately when we are looking at them on screen or in a head mounting device, okay, we are looking at a 2D image. So the next major process in 3D graphics is stocking 3D objects and turning them into 2D images. The process we call the process we call rendering in the real world. When we want to take a 2D image of a 3D object, we normally use a camera. In 3D graphics, we use a virtual camera. Okay, this virtual camera performs a perspective transform which maps the object into 2D. So the camera itself is positioned into 3D space. Okay, the camera itself is positioned into 3D space. It has a transform which gives it a position and a rotation. The 2D images taken of the object from the position of the camera. So it is an image taken from the perspective of the camera, just like a real world camera. Okay. So you can retake the camera and so change the direction in which it is looking, just like a real world camera. So in a traditional 3D scene, your job is to position the camera just like a real world photographer to get the scene from the point of view that you want. So in VR, it is a bit more complicated. One of the most notable things about VR is that you have two screens in your headset, one for each eye. So that means you need two images of the scene, one for your left eye and one for your right eye. To do that, you need two virtual cameras. These cameras need to be spaced apart, the same distance apart as your eyes, but otherwise they need to be rigidly linked together so that they move together. So just like your real cameras. So most importantly, the cameras move. You can see here, the cameras move when your head moves. In all the VR systems, there will be a most rotation tracker that maps the rotation of your head onto the rotation of the cameras. So your view of the real world, virtual world turns as your head, just like the real world. In height end systems, the same goes for your heads backward and forward and left, right, and linking the motion of your headset to the translation of the camera. So it is the link between your head movements and the transmission of the camera that more than anything else creates the VR experience. So it's like your 3D film what you are seeing in malls. Okay, so this is the head mounting device. Okay, so if you move your head, if you performs any motion for your head means, so based on that virtual application will be reacting. Okay, so it is statically or dynamically moving. Okay, so this is about the camera in VR. So the next thing is keyframe animation, how to perform the keyframe animations and all. So I think it's already time, so only one slide is there. So I will explain what is a keyframe animation. So one of the most flexible ways of creating movement for virtual reality is the keyframe animation. So now this is a method that goes back to the really early days of animation, the early days of Disney and animation studios. And how they created animation was that they drew a lot of images, and each image was subtly different from the previous one, so that when you played them one after the other, it looked like movement. So this was a fantastic way of creating the appearance of movement, but it was a lot of work. You had to draw lots and lots and lots of images. So films typically run at 20 frames a second. So 24 frames a second, that is the 24 images per second. So it is an enormous amount of work. Luckily on a computer, it becomes a lot easier because we are not drawing images anywhere. So we are dealing with objects, and we are dealing with objects with transforms, and actually most of the time the only thing we need to animate is the transform. So we keep the object the same, but we translate and rotate it to make it seem to move. For each keyframe is the same object with a different translation and rotation. So that is really nice, and we can do a lot better than that as well. So one of the biggest problem that we had in olden days of animation was that the amount of time it took, but also it was really hard to split up the work, because if you gave Snow White to two different animators, well, it would look different when the two animators did that. And they came up with a really clever solutions for that. The thing is, if you look at an animation, actually, all you need to understand an animation completely is just a few frames. So, you know, these 7 frames describe a jumping motion pretty well. Okay. But if all you had has the 7 frames, it would take less than a third of a second. It would be far too slow. You need stuff in between those frames, but the stuff in between those frames is just pretty straightforward. You just it's just through slight variations of what you have already got there. So the lead animator could do these important frames, what we call the keyframes, and you can assistance to do the in between the frames, or Sakobi in betweening them. So that's where the word keyword keyframe animation comes from. So on a computer it is even easier, because the computer doesn't between creating an animation. So all you need to do is create a keyframe. That is to not to create many frames, so just a few keyframes, and the computer will generate your lovely animation in real time that will move nicely. So the animation like this is one of the key benefits. So unlike in physics, so you are not constrained by the laws of physics, and also you can do much more complex animations that you could do with a physics simulation. So it is well worth trying out a little bit of keyframe animation, even if you decide that you are not going to be an animator yourself. So there is lots of very good animation out on the asset store that you could be using. So actually, it is if you want, all 3D objects are available in the asset store. So it is better to use the asset store. So if because the creation of the animation with the 3D objects, after creating a 3D objects, after designing a novel 3D objects, it will take some more time. So it is better to go for the existing assets components present in the asset store for your virtual environment applications. So I think my slides will completed. So the allotted time is 1 hour 15 minutes. Sir.
Sir.
Sir, முடிஞ்சது.
Sir, okay, sir.
Any queries, sir?
Sir, this is Vignesh Kumar from SNS CT from IT department, sir.
Yes, sir.
I have one doubt, sir. Being a developer side, which will be better, sir? Which will be easy to, for the beginner, A-frame will be easy or Unity will be easy, sir?
Actually, for understanding purpose, you can go for A-frame, sir.
Okay, sir.
For if you want to develop a 3D game, okay, better you can go for Unity. Unity will be providing you an excellent experience for developing a 3D game. But for studying the basics, it is better to go for A-frame initially.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Shall we wind up, sir?
Professors, do you have any questions? You can post it now, else we can wind up the session. Participants, do you have any questions? Okay,
Yes,
if
thank
have
you for
any
your
doubts
patience
or
and
any queries, you can post it in the chat box. Thank you, Kaushik. Thank you. Your session was a mind-blowing session, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us, sir.
thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Participants, the session is over and we are winding up today's day 4 and we'll be meeting again in day 5, that's tomorrow. If you have any doubts, queries or anything to add up on this event, you can post it in the chat box. And please feel free to contact us through the WhatsApp group. Thank you. You can leave the meeting and I'll see you by tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.